afternoon and good evening. I'm Saskia, aka Sassy Colouring, and I am here to do the next section of the Fuzzy Bee bonus colouring companion sheet with you. So yesterday I went through how I would use it. Today I'm just going to do 2 or 3 of the, well, these are supposed to be honey droplets. Again, if you look at the colouring page that you've got, you'll see that at the top of the page there's like droplets of honey. So I'm just going to colour them the way that I would colour them, the colour combinations that I would use. And if you find them useful, great. If you don't, I apologise. I'm sure there are a lot of you who are far more advanced and far more technical than I am. But this is just how I would do it. What I am going to do is do one with, let me see, we'll do Copic markers, then we'll do Prismacolor pencils, and then let's have a go with Winsor & Newton markers. So I do prefer alcohol markers to like water-based or any other markers, so that's what I generally use. I do have a few different sets of favourite pencils, and they would be my Prismacolor Premiers, my Brute Fooner. I think that's about it actually. Those are the ones that I really enjoy. Okay, let's get into it. Let's go. My hands are a mess, I do apologise. I've been drawing today with pencil and graphite, and so I look like I've been digging in the garden, but I haven't. Number 1, let's go with, I'm going to get the colours out first. So let's go with a nice bright cartoony, let's go Y8, then maybe a Y17, and we will go an E35. Okay, so the cartoony look, we're going to go light on top, dark underneath, so the top layer will be light. Excuse the chair, excuse the cars going past. I assume at some point we'll have kids going past kicking footballs or whacking slitters, or apologise for the noise. You can see I'm kind of messy when I colour, but I also don't want this video to be super long, so with alcohol markers, a lot of people don't use them because they bleed into each other. They tend to bleed through the paper. They tend to make a mess. The lighter you use them and the less ink that you lay down on the page, the less likely they are to bleed. It's when you start adding layers and layers of ink, say when you're blending, that's when the bleed will happen because you're puddling all of the ink. I might just use this as the darker colour for these. So what I'm going to do is just go around the edge of the lighter colour to give it a small bit of depth, but like I said, we're sticking to like a cartoony vibe with this one. And then we'll use the brown, which is E35. The top one was Y08, which stands for yellow, Y17 for this bit, and now the E, which stands for earth tones, 35. And we're just going to follow kind of the outside edge, and maybe just under here a bit where there would be a shadow. So markers, the same as pencils, go through an ugly stage, and if you're used to colouring then you'll know what I mean by that. But at some point you look at your page and think, oh my goodness, there's nothing working with this, it doesn't look nice, I don't like it. But most of the time if you push through and just kind of stick with it, you can turn it into something really nice. So this is the ugly stage because there's kind of bits and pieces everywhere. but we can start building up the colour now, so that we're blending a bit more. And the nice thing about Copics is that they do layer themselves. So if you've got one colour, you can layer it on top of itself, and it will give you a range of colours rather than just being very one tone. So very cartoony. You can see that you, hopefully if that's around some bees, you'd know it was honey. But there's also, if you have a white pen, you can give it some highlights to look like it's dripping. This one's getting a bit gloopy. Just some little dots and kind of lines. And it should make it look like the honey is dripping. Okay, so not forgetting to swatch colours, so that if you do like that colour combination, you can come back and use it again and not have to try and figure out from like your colour charts. So like I said, I do the C for Copic, and then this is Y08, Y17, E35. Very quick, very simple, and I kind of like how it looks. Okay, Prismacolors. We're going to use the same technique. We're going to do, okay, start off with the PC940. So it's a nice light. Now, I'm not a massive fan of honey. It's not I don't like it, I just don't eat it very often. But I do know that there are masses of different honeys and loads of different honey colours. So I'm just going off kind of the more stereotypical colours. But obviously if you're a honey connoisseur, then you can have a look at the honey that you have, or have a look at a Google image of the honey that you want to kind of replicate, and see if you can pick out the colours that are in that honey, use them in your swatches, and then have a go on here and see what it looks like, and hopefully you'll get the colour you want. Okay, now I'm gonna go with, let's go PC916. So I'm going to sharpen this a bit. My trusty sharpener. It sounds like a monster, but it just does the job every time. Look at that point. It's lovely. I should set it to one setting down because I'm too heavy-handed for points like these. I used to have a really big problem with my Prismacolors. I thought that they were all broken, and I really did think that it was the lead inside the pencils were broken, because I'd sharpen them and snap them, and I have some pencils actually like this, so it's tiny, because every time I sharpened it, it broke, and I did think it was the pencil, and I complained and complained but got nowhere really. And then somebody on a colouring group said to me, well, try a different sharpener, because I was using just a normal hand sharpener, and I was like, well, that's not really going to make much of a difference, but it did. So it takes a lot of the human error out of sharpening when you've got a really good sharpener. And I know it sounds silly to say that you can sharpen a pencil wrong, but you actually can. So you can see with this pencil, I'm just doing the same kind of thing. I'm following along just to give it a darker section down the bottom here of the top level. I'll call this one the top one. And then underneath, down the bottom of the droplets and underneath the top level, because that would be slightly darker from like a shadow or just from the top hanging over it. Okay, next let's go with an orangey, a more orange color. We're gonna go with PC1033. I'm not choosing these pencils at random. I do have my Prismacolor swatch chart next to me, so I can see exactly what colours I'm looking for and which colours I think will match the best. And I think that's what you kind of have to do. It's a bit trial and error. It's a good sharpener, but it's not quiet. Yeah, you just have to kind of go with what you think, and sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't, and sometimes it looks great and other times it looks really bad. But hey, I did the bee because I didn't do it on camera last time, but I smudged it all. But I like the kind of general color combination for the bee. It's just that the color, this RB14, was really inky and kind of run everywhere, but it is definitely one of those things that you live and learn. Now I know that that color is kind of super inky. So with this orange, I'm just, what is this called? Mineral orange. I'm just the same as this one, kind of giving it a bit of depth, even though it's cartoony and a very cartoon style, because that's what I love to do. You still want to make sure that it looks pretty. These droplets as well, even though they're kind of in the image, there's no lines going up. Don't be afraid to put in your own lines and add your own kind of small pieces in. It may work, it may not. Okay, I keep wiping the pencil because sometimes it gets a bit, you get like little kind of bits on the end of the pencil, because I'm probably just too heavy-handed for them. And if you leave them on your page, then you end up wiping them off and smudging stuff across the page. So it also has become a bit of a habit. Even when they're not on there, I just kind of rub it between my fingers just to make sure and clean it off. So this to me is the ugly stage, because it looks like I've just made a huge mess of everything. But when you start going back in and start blending the colours so that they kind of blend nicely together and stop looking like three separate colours and start becoming kind of more uniform together, this is where it starts to take shape, we'll say. I think when you watch these videos, you understand why I do a voiceover after, because like I said yesterday, I just either forget to talk or I ramble rubbish. That's me. I usually find that it is the lighter colour that usually pulls everything together, and if you're kind of happy with how it's looking, then I go in with a lighter colour and kind of start blending them more. If I don't like how it's looking, say if I didn't like these lines, that's where you can go in with the yellow and try and kind of work them out a bit more so that they're not as prominent. Or you can even go in with an eraser and rub them out a little bit. I don't think I got one. Yeah, I got this one here. So we'll just say that you didn't like this line on the end. You can just kind of take it out a bit so that it's not as prominent, and then fill back in the colours that you want. And you can see how something you may think was a mistake can be rectified. I didn't mind it, but hey. So I save quite often, but I'm very, very heavy-handed with pretty much everything. But if you do find that you are super heavy-handed with your pencils, and you can always hold them further down the barrel, and it stops the pencil from taking so much pressure. When down here you can go quite hard. From back here, no matter how hard you're doing it, it's still not putting as much pressure on the paper. Okay, so I kind of like that, but maybe want a bit more of the orange to come out. Also, if we take a leaf out of the book when we did the lips, or I did the lips, and we want it to look super glossy, then you can come in with a white pen and add in kind of the gloss marks. I don't know if I should have done the orange up here, but hey ho. It's not too bad. Okay, so by the gloss marks, excuse the noisy chair, what I'm saying is that, let's see if I have a thinner. I don't know if this one works. Okay, so we did the small bits of colour there. Now I'm going to go a bit mad with the white. I knew this one was running out. This is another big one. Okay, we'll have to go a bit chunky to show you what I mean. Okay, so if you just kind of imagine how the honey would drip in these kind of, you know, the way it like oozes down in layers. That's what you want to kind of recreate. Little bits here and there. Much preferred if it was a bit thinner. The white lines were thinner. But the more white you use, the more glossy it's going to look. And then don't forget, if you think the white is too stark, when it's dry, completely dry, because if I was going to go in now, it would just take it all off. When it's completely dry, you can go in and go over it with like the very light yellow, and you can darken it a little bit. Okay, so that's that one. Let's have a go at the Winsor Newton, but let's go with a more muted tone. So I know that there's like it's more of a beige color, honey. So these are very yellow. Let's go with, start off with maybe an ivory all over. So yep, this is the kind of color I wanted, because when this dries, it'll be quite a bit lighter. This is Winsor Newton Pro Marker. This is pastel yellow. Okay, I was going to go slightly lighter than that. Never mind. So that's pastel yellow, and it is Winsor Newton 0949. Yep. Okay, so next color. Let's go a slight bit darker. So this is amber. Again, I have my color reference next to me. I'm not just choosing these colors. What I'm gonna do is just kind of follow along. That line there. I've done this too dark, it's not what I want. Never mind. Very rare what I think of in my head ends up on the paper anyway. So we'll just, like I said, see if we can make a color combination out of this one. Okay. So this is amber, which is 0667. I'll go back in with the pastel yellow and see if I can salvage what I was thinking. Okay, and then this is orange. I don't have a massive collection of Winsor Newtons. I've got maybe, let me see. Okay, so I got about 60. So I'm not saying that's not a massive collection, but I have massive holes in my collection. So I have a lot of blues and I have a lot of purples and I have quite a few greens and a lot of greys. Not so much in the oranges and yellows. Don't know why. I think they were the first markers I started buying as singles, and I didn't really strategize with my buy-in. Whereas when I buy Prismacolors, I make sure I try and buy kind of a set of 2 or 3 together. So a light, a medium and a dark of each color, or whatever color I'm buying at the time, so that whatever color I have a good range to go together, if that makes sense. Whereas Winsor Newton, I just kind of went all over the place, and I found that their sets kind of had like 3 or 4 greens, 3 or 4 blues, 1 orange, 1 yellow. I'm just gonna ruin it completely and see if this works. I'm going to try and put the white over the top of this and see how that looks. I think we're going more into like a blood territory now, but yeah, no, the idea didn't work at all. I'm not going to say it would be boring if everything worked, because that would be great, but this one didn't work at all. Not the colouring I wanted at all. But that will just show you that these are handy, because if the colour combination I had in my head, if I'd have used that colour combination straight onto my page, I'd have been really annoyed, because that's not what I want at all. This could make a really nice gingerbread kind of colour. Maybe if I was going to do honey, I would probably go with this kind of colouring, the lighter with the darker underneath, rather than going too close together, depending on whether you want the bees to stand out more than the honey. A lot of different factors. So that is how I would colour honey or gingerbread, whatever. Tomorrow is Saturday. I thought it was Black Friday today. I don't know why. A couple of people have said it to me. It's the 12th and Black Friday is not till the 26th, but I convinced myself that today was Black Friday. So I was all ready to do loads of stuff for Black Friday, and then it's not even till the 26th. So tomorrow, which is Saturday, I'm going to try and do the honeycomb with you. Then Sunday I'll try and do the flowers. What I did notice with this page is that some of the elements on there are a bit small to really practice. So if I was going to redo this page, I probably would do the bee bigger and just one big kind of drop of honey, and then maybe 1 or 2 honeycombs connected. Well, it's fun to do it like this. And you can get the colour combinations. I also think that it might be a little bit better if the elements were bigger, so you can really kind of have a look at the different things you can do and the different ways you can colour them. Okay, so I'm gonna go and crash out somewhere. Like I said to you earlier on, 2 of my children are sick, so I'm a bit of a zombie today. You can hear my voice. When I get tired, my voice gets croaky. So I'm gonna leave you. Go over onto the launch if it's still open, and today we have Spot the Difference. So I've managed to spot most of them, but there are 1 or 2 I can't get. Go and have some fun, have a look at that, play the other games. Tomorrow I have 2 or 3 games that my son has helped me with, so they may be a little bit childish for some of you, but it's all about the fun, right? Okay, that's it from me. Thank you ever so much for taking your time to be here with me. I hope this wasn't too rambly and croaky and annoying, and you can see how often I get things so badly wrong. But it's all about enjoying the process. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep colouring, and as always, stay sassy. Bye!